So what car is this thing?
So I think it's 1955 Morris Isis. Good name, eh?
Good name.
We like that. It's the name of a river, I think, in around Oxford. They did a Cowley, I think, which is a place near Oxford, I think. Obviously their factory was around there. They did one that looked like a big Morris Minor as well. I can't remember what that's called. Perhaps that was a Cowley.
He's got the hoodie on, he's got the big thick jumper on, thick coat.
Yeah, I was cold yesterday.
Autumn's arrived.
Yep.
So what we got here then?
It's an SU carburettor, but what they suffer from is main jet not being aligned properly, and there's little cork bits in here, I think, and this is a different style, and they just jam up. That has to run up and down freely. That alters your mixture. Your needle drops down here, tapered needle, yeah, okay, into that main jet there. So that lets your fuel flow past that, because obviously there's a gap there, yeah. And you adjust your mixture by winding that main jet up and down. So that's screwed to the bottom of the carb. That goes on there with that spring. That's butted up against there, or should be when it's running right. Oh, there you go. There's a bit of the seal that's gone. I might have some of those, I'm not sure. So you wind that nut up and down, yeah? So the further you wind it down, that sits on the taper of that. So the further you wind that down, it's letting more fuel through, see?
Okay.
And that is your mixture adjustment. The needle's, it's full of oil. The needle's been put in wrong. That seat shouldn't be there, that should be flush. See that little raised section there?
Alright, yeah.
That should be flush with the base of here. But it could have the wrong needle in it, who knows? We can have a look in our SU book and see. So this all needs just oiling up, freeing up, cleaning up. Give it a squirt. There you go. Yeah. Right, that's nothing. That shouldn't have any more seals in it, I don't think. That goes in there. That goes on there.
So what have you been tasked to do for this car?
Just get it running better. It's only running on a few cylinders by the sounds of it. So I knew the carburettor would need doing anyway. They're a very basic carburettor, but they just get stuck up. They get gammed up, you know. So I've taken the plugs out. Usual thing. Check the compressions. They're all good.
Yeah.
All the way through, so we know there's nothing wrong valve train wise or compression wise, so that's good. Distributor cap off, plugs out, leads out, go through them, have a look, see what's going on, and obviously the carb rebuild, and then hopefully it should run better. But it has got stale fuel in it, so that's one seal. So let's give him a lube up. Once I get some petrol round them, they free up. It's just where it's been dry for so long, you know.
Yeah.
I found one of the best things to put on this is 3-in-1. It just seems to stay in there a bit better. Just lubes it up nicely, you know. Because what it is, I'll show you in a minute. you've got one seal in there. You've got that spring goes in there, like that. Then you've got, if you see that tapered washer?
Okay.
That's copper, that's a piece of leather that's tapered as well, yeah? So you'll have copper in that one, which you can just make out. So your spring sits on the copper so it doesn't damage the leather part of the washer. And that one goes that way round, inside there. So then that end of the spring hits on the copper there so it doesn't damage it. Give it a bit of oil, make sure it passes down there nicely. And what you've got to do is what they call centering the main jet to your needle. So we'll just assemble this. So that goes up in there. But you see, that is your main jet holder. See how loose that is?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that could be set in any position as such. So that goes in there. Okay. Then you leave that spring out. You've got to put that in there, that way up. So that should be fitting in there. Passes through there nicely. That goes in there. And that holds all of that together. You want to put all that together with no springs or anything in it. Then you leave that spring out. We'll reset that. Get all the oil out of that. Let's see what needle's in it actually. And there are literally thousands of different needles for these. And people, I mean, if they go racing with their shoes, they measure them in like 30 thou increments all the way down the needle. People file their own needles.
Go on.
It's really quite a technical thing for such a basic carb, really. No, can't see any markings on that. They've normally got a letter or a number on them that you can cross-reference. No, can't see anything. Right, so what we want to do...
Why are there so many different...
Just for different applications, for different engines.
But what's the purpose of the needle? Is it
the amount of fuel that's going past the main jet.
Okay.
So, as I said, as that opens up, it lets more fuel through, but that can let more fuel through at a slower rate, a faster rate. You could get a needle like that, very, very tapered, and the minute you blip the throttle, it's letting loads of fuel in on a race engine.
Yeah.
But a less tapered one is progressive. Right, and what you do, that shoulder on there, look, you just put straight edge on that shoulder, push that into there. You know that's set at exactly the right height with the base of the piston. Nice and tight on that. Right then, you put your top on without the spring in. Lock that down so you know it's square. And you push your main jet up. Make sure that piston goes up and down easily. So you know that's not binding on the main jet, you see. You nip that up when it's all in position. Main jet should move freely, which it does. Piston should go up and down freely, which it does. That means the needle isn't binding. You've centered your main jet in that hole where I showed you it was all moving. And you take it all apart again. Give the piston a clean out as well. Right, so that's your main adjuster spring. That goes on there. That's your adjuster nut. So then that, what you want to do, you look in there, see that centre hole? Yeah?
Yeah.
And I'll pull the main jet down, see it disappear?
Okay.
So you want to set that just below that ridge height for a basic start setting, yeah? So that's just below it, only a tiny bit, but that's a basic guideline to firing the car up, you know? Put this back together, drop one pin through there. Make sure we've got enough tension on our spring to hold the main jet shut off choke, because that's choke, you see, it just opens the main jet up.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you give it a mash as a choke, so...
Sticky, isn't it?
Yeah, but it has to get fuel round it. Once it gets fuel round it, all around all the moving parts, it frees up. Okay, throttle off. We'll have a look in the book when we put it back together. That's your fast idle setting, so as you choke it, yeah, push that throttle butterfly slightly open. There's more than that. Well, if you look at your throttle butterfly there, shut, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Choke it. Opens up very, very slightly. You can't really see it, but it just gives it a little bit of throttle on the back end. So that's basically it for that. One spray does all. See, that's how it should work. But obviously with those holes blocked, it'll take longer to fall down, and you can do a drop test.
Yeah.
But that's how that should work, so that's good. That's all good. You can hear it tonking back down on its bottom stop. Right, now you can put engine oil in these. You can. Some people swear by there is special SU oil you can buy. Some people say put engine oil in it, some people say put 3-in-1 in it. As long as it's got some oil in it, basically, for something like this, you know. You want it just below the height of the level. When these are really old, the oil just pisses straight into the engine through the carburettor. A little bit more. You want it about ½ an inch below the top level. So that's fine. Lower that down. Put your damper in. So that slows that piston movement down quite considerably.
Yeah.
Makes it quite hard to push up and down.
Yeah.
So that's it basically. It's all working. Whack her back together. Right, I can reach for the spanner, so that's okay. Let's call your contact breakers, yeah?
Okay.
So between that point there and that point there,
Yeah.
there's a gap in the middle, see it?
Okay.
And you want 15 thou in there, because it's on the top of its cam lobe there, and that's a lot bigger. You can see that thickness there, that's 15 thou, the width of that feeler blade. So you want that slid down in there. As you can see, it's miles too big, yeah?
Yeah.
You back off your screws. Right, that's a good 15 thou there now. So that's better for our setup. Motor arm back on. New plugs in.
Next week on the workshop.
1948 Harley WL, which is a civilian version of the WLA WLC. 348 4062, which means the 3 means it's a 45 cubic inch, 48 means it was stamped in 1948, that casing, and it's the 4062nd engine off the production line in 48.